Okay, so this is welcome, first off, and this is layer 4 of reflections. So I'm going to bring out the reflections more now. I've set the stage up and fairly well painted in the areas around the water. Now we're going to work on the reflections. I've just dabbed them in on layer 3, but so you'll see the reflections are not quite as strong as what is being reflected. That's always stronger, but anyhow, it certainly adds to the painting, having some reflections bouncing in the water. So this is what we're focusing on here in this little scene. Okay, so I'm going to begin. Let's strengthen the sky a little more. Whites and yellows and the various things. And then I can determine how much to put in of the sky. Blue sky. I'm just lightly touching it. Looking up at the reference and a little more blue. And then I'll put on top of the blue some white also. Let's put a little blue here too. It won't stay just like that, but we definitely will be painting other colors, but we want definitely some blue here. And since I have this on my brush, before I take this bluish color off my brush, I think I'm going to put some of it in the sky. Now, the sky would be around here. The direct reflection of this, let's call it a little mountain here, would be right here. And then what's above it? Well, this is above it, so that it'll be about over here. And since I don't have too much on my brush, I'll just lay it on here in a higgly-piggly way. How's that for an artistic expression? Higgly-piggly. Because this is just the first layer of it. And now I'm going to take my finger and just soften up the edges a little bit. There's little tricks you can do if you've painted something a little too brightly, and I haven't here. This is pretty quiet. But if, let's say I did paint this a little too brightly, what would I do? Well, I would say let it dry for a little bit, and then you could run a color of almost clear gel with a little bit of whatever color you want to put into it. And then it's called a glaze, and then you can glaze over anything that's a little too bright and tone it down by a filtered glaze. So there's so many different things at your disposal, you know. All right, let's go to some white now. And I'm going to use up most of it here. And if I have a little bit left, I'll put it softly in a few places here. All right, so I noticed the mountain has a cloud right there. Okay, and so that would be right there. I'm just going to dab it to remind me about that cloud. All right. Here we go. We're putting some white now, gently. And I'm going to use my finger a lot now because this is soft. No, not really any hard edges at all. Just once in a while. And I notice it's pretty strong right between these two mountains here. This is pretty white, right? Ah, yes. Yep. And it sort of goes out like that. Yep. Very delicately. So then that reflection would have to be right here. So I'm going to use my finger because, why? We don't want it to be as bright. All right, there's it. There's a reflection. And now let's put some more white. Mixing white with the sky. There's a little white up there, more around here. So I don't have a lot of paint here, and that's why I can do this. And then I'll probably have to get some more stronger white because we have some strong here. Yeah, let me get some more white here. There's a little bit there. So you see how I smooth it out? So parts of it have to be pretty strong because you want it to pop. I want my paintings to be popping a little bit. So that's what happens. That's how I do it. Up here, use the old finger. The finger's gonna have a lot of paint on it, Natalie. Anyhow, a little bit here. Mix it in. So now we're getting interplay of more interesting colors here. Again, I only interpret here. I don't try to make it exactly like that. And so let's give some more clouds here, white. We got blue and white, and I see there's also a little bit of brown. I'll put that in also. More clouds here. Yep. So you just look and just dab here and there. So it's starting to pop out more. Well, I like that angle. All right. It's soft up there, so I made it soft. So you can make it by a lot softer by, look at all the paint here, by just mushing it around, or you can just leave it and then it's stronger and it pops more. It's a combination of both, but it's actually looking pretty good. This is not the only color I'll be using, the blues and the whites here. There's yellows that sort of pop a little bit, and I'll be doing that also. So it's going to be interesting, the sky. Let's, now that we don't have a lot of paint here, let's start to do more reflections here. So here's the mountain here, and there it is here. Okay, that's it. There's a reflection of it. I'll paint these darker when I go to a darker color on this brush. These will be darker. But above the mountain, right here, we have, and I'm doing it very lightly, we have clouds coming out. Reflections, here we go. And the reflections do reflect in various colors also, just so you know. They're not just one color. I want to get that feeling of roundness. The puffiness of clouds here. All right, what's happening here? Well, so we've just sort of copied some of this action right here, okay? So there's a nice interplay, this blue, the water, and then we have these clouds and all. And some of the yellow, I'll introduce some of that yellow later. Let's go over here. I want to strengthen this. Sometimes you got to hit it 2 or 3 times because I'm using some transparent here. So when it dries a little weaker than what you just put on. So I go back and just hit it a little bit. I mean, the effect is really good. And so this is pretty strong right here too. And now, of course, wouldn't we have something right here in the water? Sure. Oh, I'm just using the tip of the brush. And let's do this one again. This is sort of round. Again, you don't have to go exactly. You don't get anal here. Just, that's all. That's a reflection. There it is. What else? We're moving along here. There's some strong clouds right above this weaker mountain here. So I'll remember this one. Well, why is it weak? Because there's a cloud above it. Hello, let's do that. Hello, we just made the mountain weaker, Natalie. Because we can. And then there's some strong cloud slashing right here. And billowing out. So this isn't, because sometimes it dries not the color. What we are putting down is at least the shape of what we want ultimately. Like I see this cloud comes like that, and down here, and then continues up here in a pretty nice, strong way. All right, I've made the shape. That means I can come back this episode or in layer, what would they be? The next layer is 5, right?
Yep.
All right, in layer 5, and make it a little stronger. But I've got a pattern going here, and it has like that. And then we got some things happening here. So I'm making patterns, or I'm laying the groundwork of, and we got a nice one going here, a little bit there, and then it just tails off here. Well, that's sort of getting interesting though. And let's add a little, since I have so little on the brush, I want to do what they did here. You see the cloud is really covering the mountain, so let's cover it. Not as much as they've done, but we're gonna do some of it here. I like already, you see how we have brown, we have yellows, there's a blue, and then there's white and gray. So we're having a lot of interplays of color, which is exactly what you want to do. All right, I'm moving along here. So this looks like it goes up and down. Well, I can do that. Go up and down. Shapes. Let's put a little more over here. And just, since I just have a little, look at that, I have just so little left. I'm just gonna rub a little around here. Look at that. Gives it some nice atmosphere right there. What about, since I still have a little bit left, let's soften up some of these areas. Soften them up. Adding something here. Yeah. I just did something here that made it more interesting than the flat color that was there. So you can see how you can take the brush, and as you've learned already, I'm pretty frugal. I like to use up all the paint if I can. And so I see a pattern coming down here. All right, let's make the pattern. And I'm dabbing now because dabbing gives it another look. And then around here, a lot of broken color. I can just take a little bit of white on the tip of the brush to emulate some of that broken color. So when I teach, I just go all around the place. I was back here on the clouds. I think I've sort of done enough right now for clouds. I still have some very strong paint right now. And there's a little strong one right here. Okay, and I did my version of it. So I'm going over here and just the tip of the brush. Can you see those hair? Look at that kind of brush. I've splayed it way out now. And that makes this kind of effect. These are all tricks I've learned. Otherwise, other people would take a very small brush and tediously go one little dot at a time. Well, I guess I don't do that, do I? You just have to have a light touch, that's all. So this is sort of like finished work here. what I'm doing now, I won't paint over. I'll paint around it though and get some of these yellows stronger if I want, but what I'm doing is pretty cool. Is that right, Natalie? It's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Where's my puppy? I'll give him a little. How about his cute little nose? I can just dabble his nose a little bit, give it some more sparkle. All right, so we're doing more interesting things here using just white. And so now I'm going to just run it across this way very lightly. So it's all how you use the brush. So I have a different look right there, just how I'm using the brush. Let's put a little there. Make these things interesting. All right, so since I have just a little bit, I can use that on these clouds here. We haven't even done these over here. So that would be like, you see, it's a little further from the mountain. Here's the mountain here. Well, it's a suggestion. We're going to refine this a little more. These reflections would be logically right out here. Okay, so let's start. Look, and I'm using all the paint on this brush. Turn it around. Maybe there's some more on the other side of it. So what I'm doing is simply telling myself that something here that is sort of, I want to put my finger around here and do that. It's sort of here and here. There's a lightness here, but it's soft. You see how I make it soft? But it's stronger than now that's better. All right. So I'm just having some white paint and I look around and I think, where can I put it? Well, let's do a little more on this cloud and this cloud also. The reflections here. So it's very, very soft side of the brush I'm using here. It's sort of a soft version of what's called scumbling. That's an artist's word, scumbling. All right, so that's looking like clouds, but softer than those clouds here. Same thing over here. If I want to make a certain area stronger, I can. Just dabbing and pushing the paint out of the brush. All right, I'm going to wash my finger off and I'm going to wash the brush. I want to go and use some browns now. Okay, so before we finish up episode 4 here, I want to work a little stronger here and here. this is getting pretty good. In the next episode, I'll finalize anything here and here. But right now, I want to get these shaped and stronger. All right, so we're talking about different brown. But the brown, so I've taken some brown, but I've also put some of my a little bit of the clear gel in it because I don't want to make it that strong. So now I'm going to dab it. If I dab too much, no, that's not bad. That's, oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Oh, I do like these things. Okay, that was lucky dabbing there. So now it shows. Our dog just ran in. You could hear the little pitter patter of the feet of Finbar. So I'm just, so this is a bit of a triangle, right? Okay, so it comes out. I'm moving the paint around that's already on there. I don't need any more. Yeah, you see, that's it. This one, I like that. I like the bumps here. Yep. The biggest bump is right there at the bottom. So I'll do that. So now you're having reflections of the mountains, the sky, and in the last episode, more detail of that. So for now, I'm saying stop, Bill. See you in layer 5 for the final.